you like my little exploring videos. I know they're not much. It's not like we're finding pyramids or anything out here, or old barns from like 1884. We're just looking at a bunch of beautiful rocks. I always say that. I always say that nature is beautiful. Anything that has to do with nature. Always, show appreciation for it. Don't say just rocks. They don't like that. They like to feel loved. You gotta desire to love everything. Look at the size of these things. That's one thing I gotta keep in mind trying to get out of here. We got plenty of time. It's barely like not even 2 o'clock. Yep, go figure. Old school for real, 70s, maybe 60s. Tin can, beer can probably. It'd be nice to think that the natives sat on this thing 7,000 years ago. Looking down and looking all around at the ancient hickories and stuff. The ancient trees of life out here. If this was the spot to live, this will be it. There's bound to be a spot where there's a significant drop off, like some boulders and stuff. Another line. And there's got to be at least one tree out here older than about 150. Looks like we have an access point right here, where people drove down on the tractor. Ooh, boy. Are you going to pop your little head out? You are brand new out here. This is within the last couple days, maybe. Stay asleep, little fox. Don't mind me. I'm just looking around. If that was a fox. All right, well, now we're starting to get to these zones where we have the muscadine vines covering up the snaky zones and some pine trees that have been pulled down at the top. Got some old school red oaks. All right, cool. About 65 years old. Maybe a little bit less. They grow fast. I think we're starting to get to a significant drop off. Starting to look a lot like Kennesaw Mountain with all this kind of rock out here and stuff. Now it's starting to look a lot more like being around Stone Mountain with the grass. I gotta be careful doing this now. I do. With what they're walking us into, what we're walking into. You heard what I just said. This is starting to look a lot like Stone Mountain with the grass and all. The grassy zones closer down to the lake. Hello, little guy. You're cozy. Can I take a picture, please? Thought I saw something. Alright, we got a pile of rocks here. It looks like that might have been piled up by mankind. I could be wrong with it though. Oh, beautiful fungus. No, this thing right here. Usually when you come across trees like this, it signifies sometimes, not all the time, it signifies an old home site. The cedar tree right there. That could be around 65 years old. Could be older than that. We got these rocks stacked up right here. Let's go ahead and get this out of heaven. Right here. There's no way that this bottle... Well, maybe the wildlife carried it up here, I can't tell. But someone could have been out here like us. Back in 2008 something. Let's go back and look at this rock. What a boring video. I'm having a blast though. I mean, these rocks right here. They're just like sitting up. And they're flat. Could be anything. If there was a grave out here, they would definitely be letting us know. But also you're going to say, hey man, cedar trees also signify what? Graveyards. Well, because they're always in graveyards. And they're usually around this size too. Hold your breath, man. Gather your thoughts. Here's the drop off. The one I was talking about. There's bound to be something like this. And we found it. You can barely tell what it used to be like out here. A lot of these giant rocks were probably moved by giant tractors a long time ago. I mean, like this one. I mean, there could be carvings on that thing. Petroglyphs. You would automatically imagine that and think so. But a tractor probably just piled it to look like that. And it is where it is because of that. This is crazy though. It's weird to me. I mean, the way they're lined up, the way they're stacked up. They're small enough that, let's say what? 5 grown men and 2 grown women. Let's not forget them. They can easily stack these things up. I mean, like these I'm stepping on right here. They're stacked up on top of each other. I mean, tractors have a tendency, like backhoes and stuff, they have a tendency to be extremely rough, extremely sloppy. And you have to have the tender touch of the ladies, you know, and the smooth motions of human hands and muscles to place them specifically, neatly, on top of each other. You know what I mean? I mean, a backhoe cannot be this neat. I could be wrong though. I'm always trying to think outside the box when it comes to discovering new places that I've never been to before. Oh, it goes all the way around up there too. Way over there. Would make quite the waterfall. Welcome to Not Stone Mountain. I don't need to be getting lost and turn around out here in heaven. I mean, this one I'm talking about here. Right here, look. These rocks were placed in here. That's a big one right here, though. That thing weighs at least, I'd say, 75 to 80 pounds right here. And then you have a smaller one. You can tell they did not break off the bigger one right here. Crazy. All these things are separated. Most of this had to be man-made. I mean, I'm not talking about the bigger ones. These are gargantuan. I'm talking about these things right here. Why would they fill in the gaps, though? I mean, they got small little things just piled in here, in between. And they're just stacked in some places. I bet they're talking up a storm out here. Oops, don't say that. What I mean is they're talking like crazy. Sorry. I didn't mean, don't say that out here. Wouldn't it be perfect if there was something carved out here, man? It's hard to tell on granite rocks, just like it is a stone mountain, You got the moss growing all over it. We can't really complain about that. It's nature. But it hides secrets. The moss will hide and cover up things. No road map, nothing. No arrows, no fish. No reindeer. No mastodons. No stick figures. There is a quartz vein, though. But that's one thing I haven't seen so far. It's broken beer bottles, and that is a perfect sign. That's what we don't want to be seeing when we go exploring. There's nothing like the feeling that you are one of very few to make it to such a place like this. I know it's just a pile of rocks. Pile of boulders. That's it. But it's a great find. It's a beautiful place. Another thing that I'm so happy we haven't seen yet are pink and orange ribbons hanging on trees, on branches. That would definitely be a bad thing if we saw something like that out here. Man, check this out. This is by far one of the most interesting weathered granite rocks I've ever seen, but it's soft granite. I'm just taking a reference picture. You're going to say, pull that thing out of there. It could be done by the natives. No, it's just a trick of the eye. The shadowing is making it look more significant. Good find right there. That is weird indeed. Look how cool it looks now that the sun came out. I know it's partly cloudy now. It's giving us that glow out here. It's not going to last long though. The rain is still coming at about 4:30. Even more. The water's got to come from somewhere. I'm trying to be careful. There's like 3 foxholes up here. There's one over there. And then there's one right there. But I'm trying to get here. If you hear chanting, let me know. See, they're small, and they're lined up on top of each other. It could be natural, though. I don't know how far I can go out here, though. Safety is the key. Weird. we probably have the oldest tree out here right here. I can't tell if that's a white oak. I think it's a red oak. If that's white oak, that's at least 165 years old right here. Yep, people come out here. There's a can too. There had to be a community here from the natives. Every boulder is just, they're the perfect size to create something with. This couldn't have been done by modern man. Even in the 1880s, the 1850s, this couldn't have been done by them like this. They would never have taken the time to do anything like this. They were too busy trying to cut down the trees and create a life for themselves in a new land that they were given. Look at all these little ones right here. They're all separated. But they don't fit together like a puzzle. There's no way that the settlers would have done anything like this. Let's go ahead and get the garbage out of here. I thought I saw a plastic bottle too. I think that's what I was looking at. Maybe it was something else. Oh yeah, it's white oak. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm counting the prongs on the leaves. She's a white oak. Definitely at least 130 years old. She's been hanging on to these rocks for a long time. I'm not going to say what a shame. It's just a situation where it's very dry when they hang on to rocks like this. And they have a tendency to topple over extremely easily because there's not much to hang on to when it comes to the ground. What the heck? That's weird. I saw a bottle down here, a plastic bottle. Maybe that's it. Guess what? Heck yes, I knew there had to be something out here. Geocaching box. Let's take a look, shall we? I can see some trinkets inside of it already. No, we're not going to take it. We'll take a look. I wonder who's the last person to find that. Let's go and pull that thing out. See what kind of little kitty things we have up in here. Under a tree of life. The oldest one out here, possibly. They chose a perfect spot. It's almost like they knew we were coming by. And I don't have anything to offer. If I knew that this thing was here, let's go and open it. I see some notes. Welcome to Stone Mountain. Man. You know, when I first saw this thing, I thought it was like one of those get-in free cards for Mardi Gras. And I'm not talking about over there in Louisiana, New Orleans. Shut up. Hey, they heard us talking. Look, we have an arrowhead. And it has a compass on it. So you can find your way through the forest. Cute. Da Vinci found the treasure again today. That's kind of rusted though. The moisture's getting to it. Wonder what it was supposed to be. Anita. 9. Nil. What? Nine? 9. I guess that says 9. But of course, we gotta take a look at the last one. April 17th, 2023. About a month and a half ago. 9/12/2021. So these things are really recent. Where's the gap though? You know, there's always a big gap somewhere. These look to be pretty consistent though. 2012, 13. While somebody walk up behind us. 2016, 17. So there's a 4-year gap that no one found this thing. Ain't nothing like geocaching. And it's not even a major hobby of mine. Well, kind of it is. I'm just amateur with it. Yellow and blue make green. Let me go and get this stuff back in there. Great find for the day. Day's getting better already. We found some heavy duty subdivision, construction stuff that are worth a lot of money. And then we found a geocaching box. Alright, how are we going to make sure that it could be found but not be pulled out by some cute animal or something? Well, I guess that's good enough. Nature will hold on to it. They'll never find it if that rock comes down even further, though. Man, so glad I saw that thing. Let me go ahead and get the garbage out of here, though. See, there's no reason for this rock to be here, though. That one on top. There's no reason for that to be there unless someone put it there on purpose. A weird place for sure, though. I guess we're getting closer to the spot where the people come over from the main park. The top portion of it. Because there's like 7 cans down here. No, not 7, like 4 cans down here. Well, dang. Well, I made it to this side of the river. They just pulled me to it. I mean, we just end up places, right? The natives had to do that stuff up here. They had to have been out here for at least a few hundred years, even a few thousand years, to do that kind of construction. To overlook the zone down here, right next to the river. The further we went, the closer to the river we got on this side. I'm just going to keep on going. I got 39% on the battery. I'll let you know if I come across some cool things, It shouldn't be that hard to get out of here, though. Find my way out of here. But the hands are going to be getting full. And so are the pockets.